Good evening and welcome to Crossroads Career Network seminar tonight, Thursday night. Welcome. We're happy you're here tonight. As always, we appreciate you joining us and thank you for participating in what we hope is a great evening. My name is 𝘾𝙡𝙖𝙞 and on a volunteer basis, I work with the Crossroads group out of Woodbury. I lead that group. When we have live seminars going on and other things. But right now, currently, as always, we're providing these seminars online through Zoom. And so welcome for joining us again. Crossroads provides a lot of great services and opportunities through for those people who are in transition. So if you're looking for any number of different things, you can find it through Crossroads. And Crossroads, like I said earlier, most everything is free. So check it out. I'll go over a presentation at the end of the webinar that will outline all the things that Crossroads delivers. And stay tuned for that. Again, welcome. I'll give you a quick agenda of what we're going to cover tonight. I'm doing this brief introduction, and then we'll play a video tonight on a testimonial on how to persevere and work through things and through mental acuity and awareness and toughness. So that's something to look forward to, and I will introduce that in a minute. And then we'll have our main speaker, Lori Anderson, who will be, her topic tonight will be Claiming Your Future. And then, as I indicated, we'll follow up with the services that Crossroads has available for you on a given day. Now, thank you for again joining us. And let me start with something quick from the Bible. I'm going to read Mark 12:30 and 31. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind, and with all your strength. The second is this: love your neighbor as yourself. There are no commandments greater than these. The reason I did that tonight is because it seems we've forgotten a lot of that lately. It seems that there's nothing but bad news and people and hatred and those sorts of things. We need to get back to loving our neighbor as ourselves and really focus on that. It seems that if we were to walk this way of life on a more consistent basis, we'd get right spiritually. And when we're right spiritually, we'd fill ourselves with gratitude and serve others. And that will impact your life greatly. And fill yourself with hope so that you can go forward in job search with a passion that allows you to find what you're looking for. So job search can be very difficult, and God gives us a lot of great wisdom through the Bible. So please look to it, and hopefully that wisdom will guide you through your transition. Let me open in a prayer. Lord, thank you for bringing us together tonight to help us share and grow and become one with you and with what we're trying to accomplish. Guide us where your plans lead us. If we're new to transitions, help us through talking to you through prayer. Give us the strength and inspiration so we can go out and find the career opportunities that we look for and want. Help us to really be focused on what we're trying to accomplish and energize so that we can really find what will make us whole and help us serve you best. In Jesus' name we pray, amen. Okay, so next I'd like to introduce you to a short video that will be from Scott Hamilton, the world gold medalist skater who ran into some difficulties, and he's going to talk about it now in this video in a few short minutes here.
I don't think anyone's truly equipped to go out in front of 1 billion, 2 billion, 3 billion people on an Olympic stage, and you're scared out of your mind. On a 200 by 100 surface of ice, you wonder why you do this because you're so nervous. On 2 10-inch lengths of 1/4-inch wide steel, through this, just get me through this. And you're to manipulate those edges for 4.5 minutes and do triple jumps and athleticism and not make a mistake. It's impossible. But I found a way to be just just good enough to win the gold medal. The more I look back on it, I think it's unbelievably awesome. Like, that was me. You know, I always thought if I could be really good on the ice, you know, I could become famous. I think I'm probably more known for my health problems now than I am for anything I ever did on skates. When I was very little, I suffered from a disease that stopped me from growing. It was in and out of hospitals for years, and I was never really home. And so what ended up happening was I came back from kind of being in and out of hospitals, and I ended up going to the skating club thing just by accident. And I found skating, which kind of took on a life of its own, and it progressed. And pretty soon I'm competing, pretty soon I'm living away from home. All my role models and the people that were teaching me how to live day to day were older skaters. So there was a lot of it that was terrific, but a lot of it that really wasn't guiding me in any real direction. It wasn't until I suffered the devastation of my mother losing her battle to cancer that something was awakened in me. I knew I needed something more, something better. I think I needed to have some strength, and my mother was my source of strength. When she was living, I would disappoint her, but when she was gone, I just didn't ever want to be less than she thought I could be. I was happy to just work. I was happy to just entertain. I do well, and I think that was good enough. Skating had given me life as a child, and it given me, you know, kind of a strength as an adult. But what was about to happen really changed my life forever. You know, cancer, it put me into a phase of my life where I just needed to kind of sort it all out. I just survived something. Why? I survived something that took the most important person in my life off the planet. That was my mother. She died of cancer, and I survived. What's my purpose now? What do I need to do? How do I? And a big part of that dust settling was getting with Tracy. And she brought me to the church. She took me to a minister, a man named 𝘾𝙡𝙖𝙞𝙢. And the first thing he said to me, which was extraordinary, was, he goes, you have to understand that Christianity is a faith of history. These things actually happened. And I go, okay, that's a good starting off point. And just study what has happened and see how that resonates in your own life. And it grew. It just sort of, it's like, okay, I get it. When you survive testicular cancer and you want to start a family, you don't know what the issues are going to be. And I prayed that I would someday become a father. Tracy and I, we got engaged and married. And then my son was born 9 months and 2 days after we got married. So I guess there was a plan there. I thought I paid my health dues when I had cancer, but this was a whole nother issue. I have a brain tumor. How do I tell my wife? And we have a 14-month-old son. How do I tell my wife that I have a brain tumor? I'd just gotten the news an hour before. I met them at the hotel, and she goes, what's going on? And I said, I have a brain tumor. And she took my hands, and without hesitation, she just started to pray. And it was in that moment I knew where I was going to put everything, my trust, my faith, everything. So the most powerful moment of my life. From that moment forward, we just said, whatever it is, whatever it takes, we'll face this. When they're gonna do a biopsy, they tell you, we're gonna drill a hole in your head, and then we're gonna take a needle down through your brain and take a piece of the tumor. They said, we seem to have found a safe corridor to do this. And I go, well, I'm not using most of it. But they tell you all the things that can go wrong in that surgery. And I remember waking up, and I looked at the clock, and it was 10:20. I knew where I was. And then the next thing I saw was my wife come in with a smile on her face. She said, they know what it is. And they found out that that brain tumor was one that I was born with, one that I'd had since birth, which inhibited my growth as a young child. That was the mysterious illness I had that they never diagnosed that got me into skating. Who would I be without a brain tumor? I'm 5'4". If I were 5'8", if I would have grown those years, 5'10", where would I be? Who would I be? I could choose to look at it as debilitating, to choose to focus on the suffering. I choose to look at that brain tumor as the greatest gift I could have gotten, because it made everything else possible. I didn't see past it this time. I didn't think I would survive. One point I was starting to really feel weak. And one nurse in particular, I was up at 3 o'clock in the morning and I just was uncomfortable. And she was, can I get you anything? And I just said, no. I go, I'm just a little scared. She said, do you pray? I said, yes. And she said, what do you say when you pray? I go, well, I just thank God for all the blessings in my life. Do you ask him for anything? No. I just want him to know I'm grateful. I'm grateful. Well, who is God to you? And I said, well, I guess he's my father. Oh, you're a father, right? Yes. If one of your children were hurting, wouldn't you want him to come to you for comfort, strength? Yes. So I changed the way I pray now. I ask. Uninhibitedly, I ask. I ask to heal. I ask for strength. I ask for courage. I ask for another child. I want to talk about miracles. It's after surviving the pituitary brain tumor. It's impossible, practically impossible. I did 6 injections a week for 2 years. No luck. We're not meant to have another child. We gave that to God. A month later, we found out that Max was on his way. Miracle Max. When I look back and I see all those little moments in my life where I needed a great deal of strength, I understand that through a strong relationship with Jesus, you can endure anything. I just learned that the only true disability in life is a bad attitude. God is there to guide you through the tough spots. God was there every single time. Every single time. My name is Scott Hamilton, and I am second.
Okay, well, that kind of left me speechless. Wow, that's an awesome testimonial. Next on our presentations tonight, we're going to hear from Laurie Anderson, who's going to speak on claiming your future. Laurie has over 30 years of coaching and experience related to human resources and working in the realm of job search and building oneself into the next iteration of who you're going to be, and through coaching. And Laurie comes to us tonight all the way from Princeton. Laurie, I am going to let you take it from here. I understand you're going to ask for questions and you want them to put them in the chat, and the more the questions, the better, I assume. So keep them coming, right?
Yeah, I actually have some participation planned here. So I'll be looking for your comments and some reactions in the chat. So I hope everyone's going to be comfortable using that. I wish I could see you, but that's as it is. So let me share my slides. Let's see. Here we go. Hopefully everyone can see those and find that chat box. So I'll be able to keep an eye on that. Very good. Okay. So as I said, we're going to use chat, and you're going to want to have some paper and something to write with. And I actually want to start with that. So if you would, grab your paper and pen and write down a number between 1 and 7 to indicate how engaged you intend to be during this session. So 7 is all in, and you're not going to share it. It's just for yourself. So just be honest. All right, got it. Now look around you and find one thing you can adjust in your environment that will improve your chances of meeting that number that you intend. So you know what I'm talking about here, right? Close the other windows on your device, finish up and send that email that's almost ready to go. Close the door where you're working, get that glass of water, a cup of coffee. I'll give you just a moment to take care of that adjustment right now. And then if you would type done in the chat when you're ready to go, I'll be watching that. Perfect. A bunch of people are back. Let us move on then. So I want to start with fairy tale land, basically. So once there was an eagle who, through some bizarre accident of fate, grew up with the chickens. There was no reason for the eagle not to believe she was a chicken. The other chickens certainly believed she was one of them, if a bit odd looking. So she learned to live as a chicken lives. All one really needed to do, she found, was keep your head down and keep pecking at the ground. And if you spent all day at it, you would find enough seeds and bugs and other edible tidbits to survive. She focused on being the best chicken she could be, and she became very successful at it. She never went hungry. As long as she stayed near the chicken coop, she was pretty safe. She had friends among the other chickens. In fact, because she'd become so good at being a chicken and because she was bigger than the other chickens, she had the esteem of her colleagues. So life seemed about as good as it could be. Then one day, she heard something that made her look up into the sky. Now, that alone was very unchicken-like behavior, don't you think? Far, far above, she could just make out a silhouette against the sun in the shape of a soaring eagle. At the sight, something big shifted inside her. Suddenly, she felt the sensation of what it would be like to ride on the wind. She had a vision of what the world might look like from way up there instead of from a foot above the ground. And along with these sensations came a sudden, deep yearning. She didn't understand it, and she didn't begin to know how to fulfill it. But it was one of those moments in life there's no going back from. She would never be the same again. Now, the story could go in a number of different directions from here, but I'm going to leave off at this point for now. I want you to take a moment and put yourself into that story. I know, as this plays out in your imagination, you're the eagle. Am I right? So, what does your chicken coop look like? And how's it keeping you in? Who are the chickens around you? You're in the right place today if you've ever looked up and felt your heart soar with what you saw up there in the stratosphere. If you've ever felt that deep, seemingly unquenchable yearning for something more. You're in the right place if you know you're an eagle and you're tired of acting like the chickens all around you. You're in the right place if you're ready to take control of the rest of your career and your life. So you know this already, I'm Lori Anderson. I'm passionate about improving the human experience in the world of work. In my 30+ year career as an HR executive, I saw countless people struggle to survive, much less thrive in corporate environments. And I made a study of what the thrivers had in common. So now in my coaching business, I get to help individuals create their own environment within the world of work where they can truly thrive, loving what they do and contributing to their maximum potential. Early in my career, I was a young and aspiring HR professional in love with my chosen profession when all of a sudden I got to have the unwanted experience of laying off about 80 of my coworkers. That's 80 people that I knew really well. I was miserable. It was awful. I was really actually rethinking my career choice. And survivor's guilt, you probably know what that is. Maybe some of you have had an opportunity to experience that. Trust me, there's a special, more hellish version of it for HR folks. Well-deserved, you may be thinking, I get that. But it turned out to be a really enlightening experience for me, even what I would call a formative event in my career. Here's what happened. Some of my coworkers were able to take their unwelcome circumstances and turn them into a massive win for themselves. Others wallowed in victimhood. Every one of those 80 people at the end was better off or worse off. There was no one in the middle. And the only differentiator, the only thing that predicted which group they were going to be part of was the decision they made about it. I was fascinated. It was the moment of my career when I became driven to figure out what those thrivers had in common, how I could get more of whatever magic they possessed, and then how I could teach others to thrive as well. You see, those 80 people all thought they were chickens. And the chicken coop was their comfort zone, right? When the walls of the chicken coop came crashing down around them, they were pitched headlong into a bigger, scarier world. Some of them looked up, got inspired, and found a way to soar. My vision for each of you is that you'll find your wings and soar. My vision for you is that you'll spend the rest of your career on fire every day, doing work you love, using your best gifts to make a difference in the world, and getting paid what you're worth to do it. When I coach people, that's often the work we focus on, whether they're in transition, so staying in the same old chicken coop isn't an option, or they're firmly entrenched in the chicken coop of their own comfort zone. So today I'm going to share the 3 most important strategies I've learned from the Thrivers, so you can become one too. I know every one of you is an eagle. So you can figure out how to move the slides. Okay, so we're going to do a little visualization exercise here. I want you to, you can either close your eyes, or if you're comfortable with that, or you can look at this slide. But first, we're going to get really present with a little breathing exercise. So I want you to take a deep breath. And then as you breathe out, I want you to push all the air out of your lungs. Get all that stale air out of there. Pull your belly button back to your spine. Take another deep breath, and this time, instead of filling the top of your lungs, really focus on filling your rib cage. I like to think of it as pushing my elbows out to the side as I fill up with air. And again, as you breathe out, push it all out. Pull your belly button back to your spine. And a third deep breath. This time, I want you to fill your belly. Let it really expand. And again, push all that air out. And now let's just breathe normally, softly for a couple of breaths. Okay, let's visualize your future life. You've landed the perfect job for you. And now it's Monday morning. You get to go do work that uses your best gifts every day. The things you're good at, the things you love to do, maybe the skills you've spent your whole career honing. You absolutely know you matter, and your work makes a difference. You know you're going to feel appreciated today and every day for the value you bring to the organization, to your team, to your clients, your patients, whoever you do this work for. You know you're finally getting paid what you're worth. And you have as much flexibility as you need to take care of the other important things in your life. Okay, are you there with me? Now focus on how you're feeling. How does it feel to wake up on Monday morning knowing you get to go do this job? How much difference is your fulfillment making in your life? Think about your family, the loved ones you live with and spend time with every day. How different is life for them since you made this big change and became a happier, more fulfilled person? Okay, you can open your eyes when you're ready. You've just experienced what it feels like to be a thriver. Pop a few words in the chat about how that felt to you. Amazing, grateful, content. I love that. Beautiful. Thank you. Comfortable, soft. Want it? Yes. Love it. Energizing. Okay. Super. Thank you so much for playing along with me. I have 2 voices in my head. When I'm envisioning my own best future, one of those voices is saying things like, "You've got this. You deserve this. There's no reason you can't have everything you want." In other words, Lori, you're an eagle. The other voice is saying things like, "Who do you think you are? You're not good enough. That'll never work. You're a chicken. You're a chicken. You're a chicken." Right? Tell me if those 2 voices live in your head too. Just pop a yes or 2 voices in the chat for me. Yeah, you see, you are not alone. And you're not alone for a good reason. That's how the human brain is wired. The thrivers have those same two voices in their heads. They've just figured out some powerful brain hacks that allow them to pay attention to that first voice more often, so they can take the actions that will make their best future a reality. So we're going to talk about 3 simple and powerful strategies the thrivers use, and that all of us can learn to get to that place we each just envisioned so powerfully. So let me just tell you what they are, and then we're going to do a deeper dive into each one, because even though they're simple, they're not easy. So I'm also going to be sharing some tips to help you get through the hurdles that come with each one of them. Great. So here are the 3 things I found that really set the thrivers apart. First, they know what they want. Second, they bounce forward from every setback and challenge. And third, they take consistent, inspired action. In other words, they have a clearly defined purpose, they're extraordinarily resilient, and they take the risks that come with every step outside their comfort zone. So let's dive into they know what they want just a little bit deeper. I'm a Marcus Buckingham fan. You may be familiar with him. A lot of people are familiar with his early work with the Gallup organization on strengths finders. In his latest work, he's been focused on what makes each unique individual human really happy in their work. Excuse me. He talks about the fact that beginning from our earliest days as a student and stretching on into our working years, all of our development, energy, and attention is focused for us, basically, on improving our weaknesses, right? We don't learn how to identify the things we're uniquely good at and that we really love to do. When both of those conditions are present, he calls those your red threads. So his analogy is that while you're working, you are weaving a tapestry and you are drawing on many different colors of threads as you do so. But those things that you're both good at and love to do are your red threads. Research conducted right here in Minnesota at the Mayo Clinic has shown that when your tapestry is just 20% red threads, you'll never burn out. Now, most of us can exercise some control in the work we do, so we could get it to the point where the red threads are 20%. But most of us don't know what our own red threads are. So step 1 in knowing what you want is identifying your red threads. In my coaching work, I refer to the red threads as your superpowers. And if you're interested in diving further into this, I have a free ebook available that I'll be happy to share with you. You can just email me to ask for it, and my contact information is on my last slide. So people who know what they want are also very in touch with their values. So they don't just have their list of values honed in. In fact, they're relentless about making sure their life reflects their values every day in every way. So in how they spend their time, in the physical things they surround themselves with, how they spend their money, of course, and most importantly, what they say no to. So there's always room to say yes to the things that are a fit. Finally, the thrivers have figured out the most powerful brain hack we know of. You see, the human brain's default is to interpret everything in the most negative way possible. Our most primal response mechanisms, fight, flight, freeze, live in the part of the brain that evolved earliest with a great purpose, keeping us safe in the world, right? That negative reaction is instinctual and it runs in the background every moment of your life. So this is that voice saying, you're a chicken. Stay close to the coop and just keep pecking, right? It takes almost no energy from your other thoughts and activities. So most of the time, you're not even aware of it. Your prefrontal cortex, in contrast, evolved much later in human existence. And that's where all of our executive functions take place, like rational and abstract thinking, analysis, planning, decision-making, working memory, emotional regulation, many of the things we most strongly associate with being human. But using the prefrontal cortex takes conscious intention and a massive amount of energy. So this is why your best intentions to stay positive and upbeat get hijacked the instant you feel like you've been treated unfairly, or you feel like you're an outsider to the group that you're with. When you face any of the threats that are common in the human experience of present day, it's why that voice saying you're an eagle is so easily drowned out. Now, because we have that natural tendency toward the negative, the only way to avert our brains away from it for any extended period of time is by holding a positive image that's much stronger than the negatives. The thrivers have figured that out and created a compelling vision for themselves. So a compelling vision is concise so that you can easily remember it in a few words. It moves you emotionally, so the instant you think of it, you're just drawn to it like a magnet. And it's so powerful, it will pop you out of bed in the morning and silence that chicken in your head who loves to tell you it's too dangerous, or it'll never work, or any number of other negative statements designed to keep you safely in your comfort zone. So there you go, 3 tips for how thrivers know what they want. They've identified their red threads, they've really zeroed in on their values, and they've created that compelling vision for themselves. The second thing that really sets the thrivers apart is they bounce forward from every setback and challenge. Bouncing forward is the way I think of resilience. Now, you've probably heard the term bouncing back. But often when life throws a curveball at you, there's no back to bounce to. Am I right? I mean, as someone in job transition, I'm sure you can relate to that. The thrivers are extraordinarily resilient. Some of them are naturally wired that way, but resilience is like a muscle that you can strengthen with exercise. So all of us can get stronger. And there are many ways to strengthen your resilience, and I'm going to talk about just 2 of the most powerful. You didn't get this far in your life without running into some adversity. So take a moment right now to think about a difficult time in your life, something in the past, not that's happening right now, but something you've gotten through in your past life. Most of us have a number of things we could choose from. Don't spend too much time picking it out. Just choose one. And go back there for a moment. What I'd like you to do is think about when things looked their most bleak, what got you through it? Share a few words about that in the chat, because we can all learn from each other. What was it that got you through that awful time? Prayer, great role model of that in the video that we just saw. Faith, very good, yeah. Faith. Family, friends, absolutely. Yeah, knowing God would get me through, beautiful. Yeah. A lot of times people will say things that fall into the category of self-care or a gratitude practice. I hear people refer to the power of humor and laughter, connecting with people that are positive, made a choice to move on, beautiful. Connecting is a huge part of that, right? Random acts of kindness, calling on your support network. Thank you so much for sharing. When we talk about resilience, how many of you immediately have an image of someone you know pop into your head? Who in your life have you seen demonstrate amazing resilience? Share with us in the chat who that was. Brother? Mom, sister, yeah, family members. I hear that a lot. My dad, my mother. Yeah. Mother. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, so my point here is that you already know a lot about how to be resilient. You know what's worked for you in the past, and you know some very inspiring role models you've had in your life, right? So resilient people remember to tap into what they know already when those tough times come up. The second trick I'm going to talk about here will take us right back to that discussion we were having about the brain and its default of interpreting everything negatively. Here's another aspect of that tendency. Your brain makes up stories to explain everything. And guess what? Those stories are automatically negative. So resilient people know they can't believe everything they think. I'd like to share a story here with you from a time long ago when I was a young bride, long ago, pre-cell phone. That'll be important in this story. So my husband, my new husband, had a side gig he was passionate about. He reffed high school football games on Friday nights. So we headed into that first fall season of our marriage, and somehow I came up with the assumption that I should wait up for him on game night. Newlyweds, what can I say? Now, I've always known that Jim is an off-the-scale extrovert. What I know now that I didn't know then is that if you ask him how long something is going to take him, you have to double or even triple what he tells you if there's any chance he might run into someone he can visit with. Okay, so that first Friday night, I asked Jim what time he expected to be home. And he thought about when the game was and where the game was and everything that would play out and said, I think I should be home by 11 o'clock. You can already see where this is going, right? So, of course, 11 o'clock comes and goes and there is no sign of Jim. Midnight comes and goes and there's no sign of Jim. 1 o'clock comes and goes and Jim is still nowhere in sight. So at first, I was really just annoyed by this. I mean, I'm a morning person and this is way past my bedtime. But of course, after a while, possible explanations started to pop into my head. And before you know it, I was awfulizing. You've been there, right? I'm imagining his broken and bleeding body lying on the highway somewhere, or pinned inside a horrible wreck, or the list of grisly possibilities just goes on from there. The stress was building up in my body. I was just getting really rattled, and still he wasn't home. Tell me if you've been there. If that's ever been you, type worry or stress or awfulizing in the chat for me. Oh no, last night. Oh dear. Worrier. Oh my. Yes. Okay. You guys know what was happening to me. Yep. Awfulizing. Okay. Well, finally that night, something kicked my rational brain into gear. And I had the sense to ask myself, if he is dead somewhere, how is this going to play out? So here's the conversation I had with myself. Remember, pre-cell phones. It'll probably be mid-morning before anybody gets around to notifying me. What good am I going to be if I sit here awake and steeping in this stress from now until mid-morning? I'll be in a lot better shape to deal with whatever it is, awful news, whatever, if I get some sleep before then. I guess if he's dead, I'll find out in the morning. The stress was gone. I went to bed and fell sound asleep, He eventually showed up safe and sound and pleased with life sometime in the wee hours. And I never waited up for him again. The old story, the automatic story, the awfulizing wasn't serving me well. Here's the thing, even if it had been true, I intentionally chose to believe a new, more positive story, and it had a huge impact on my life. I mean, I'm still married to this guy. I can't begin to count the hours I would have spent awfulizing by now. So there you go. That is step 2 in bouncing forward. Don't believe everything you think. Question your stories and create new positive ones. Okay, the last big thing that sets the thrivers apart is they take action. This is actually the most important of the 3 things. Remember the chickens? Remember those 80 people I had to lay off early in my career? As inspired as I was by the people in that group who found a way to make their future better despite the circumstances, here and there throughout my career, and now in my coaching, I've run into someone even more inspiring. The failure of the chicken coop is an unplanned disruption that jolts people into a new perspective, right? It might come into your life by any number of crises. Job loss is certainly one thing that can destroy the chicken coop. For some people, it's a health scare. We heard Scott Hamilton, oh my gosh. Major upheaval like the pandemic we've just been through, or any other kind of significant loss can really destroy the chicken coop, losing a loved one, losing a home. Unplanned disruption happens to all of us at some point in life. It's actually relatively easy to make positive changes when you have to change anyway. So when that chicken coop comes crashing down around you, you have a unique break in your perspective, right? That can allow you to see all kinds of new possibilities for yourself. And since there's fear, no matter what you do next, why not choose the bold route? The goal is to react to unplanned disruption resiliently. So psychological studies tell us about 1 in 3 people is naturally resilient. 2/3 of us have to work harder at it. We've already talked about some good ways to do that, right? There are people who go a step further. There are people who plan for disruption. So when the chicken coop disappears, they already know what they'll do next. In my experience, that might be 1 person out of 20. If they're laid off, they might or might not land quickly, but they know what they want. They're obviously resilient. And because they have a plan, it's easier for them to stay confident, positive, and focused on that outcome, eventually landing exactly where they want to be. My friend Lisa had a big corporate job that ended after a major ownership change at the company. She could see that disruption coming, and she made a big, brave plan for what she would do next. She stepped way out of her comfort zone and started a nonprofit for a cause that moves her. And if you talk to her today, she says she can't believe how lucky she feels to be doing the work that she does. There are some rare people who go further yet. They create disruption. They step out of the chicken coop of their own comfort zone in order to pursue their own best interests. And from my lifetime of observation, I think this is no more than 1 in 100. Maybe you know someone who quit their job to just pursue what they wanted. It seemed like it was out of the blue, right? Maybe they just were fed up one day, the last straw, or maybe the perfect opportunity presented itself. Some people do just leap. Others lay the groundwork ahead of time. They work hard on their dream pursuit outside of their normal work week. So when they step away from the regular paycheck, they already have their safety net built. My former coworker, Jason, had a C-level role in our company with a big salary and perks. And one day he just walked away from it all to start his own thing. Turns out he'd been building it all along, despite working long hours in the corporate job. Today, he's thriving and doing exactly what he wants to do every day. What makes it easier for some people to do that? What makes a person the 1 in 20 who plan for disruption, or the 1 in 100 who create it? We've come full circle here. We've talked about this already. They know what they want. This is the most important thing to have if you're ever going to take the actions that will get you what you want. If you don't do the hard work to really know what you want, you'll always be struggling to find the motivation to keep moving toward your goal, the motivation it takes to take that scary step outside of your comfort zone. Knowing what you want is hard work, and no one else can do it for you. So this isn't like when you're a kid and your mom would make your bed for you when you didn't quite get around to it. And it's not like the team project where if you don't quite fulfill all of your assignment, someone else who cares deeply about the outcome or the grade will step up and fill the void. You have to parent yourself. This is a great reason to get a coach, by the way. A lot of the coaching work I do, both individually and in my group programs, is around helping people do this hard work for themselves. Let's revisit some of those ways for you to know what you want. We talked about these already. So the red threads, really identifying what you're good at and what you love to do and where those things intersect. Very, very important. Values. So we talked about the fact that these can help you decide what to say no to, so you have the capacity to say yes to the right things. But your values can really also help you zero in on discrepancies. By recognizing when something in your life isn't aligned with your strongly held values, it will create cognitive dissonance and you'll be motivated to change it. The other thing it can do for you is refining how you define yourself and the labels you use in your self-talk. So, for example, maybe you've always admired people who are especially courageous, so much so that courage is one of your strongly held values. Relabel yourself as a courageous person in your own mind. Defining yourself in that positive way will drive you to start behaving in ways that better match that value. And then we talked about that compelling vision. What that does is it puts your brain in an aspirational state where it's focused on the positive outcome rather than approaching it as a problem to be solved, because our brains automatically perceive problems as threats, right? So having your compelling vision silences those negative voices, helps you visualize the success you're moving toward, and it also opens you to new ideas and learning, or what we call growth mindset. Now, remember what I said makes a compelling vision. It's concise, it's emotional, it's powerful. So think about it in terms of a slogan-sized statement. Think about the t-shirt or the billboard, and really do the work to create and boil it down to that slogan-sized statement and put it somewhere you'll be reminded of it multiple times a day. Knowing what you want is by far the biggest key to taking consistent, inspired action. I want to give you a few more hacks the Thrivers know about taking action. So I'd like you to stand up for a moment, please. I want you to stand and pay attention to your posture. So first, I want to have you slump your shoulders forward, hang your head, and put a serious expression on your face, maybe even frown a little. And let's just hold that for 5 or 10 seconds. I'll count. Okay, now stand as if you just landed that dream job you visualized earlier. So erect, shoulders back, head held high, and a confident smile on your face. And now hold that pose for another 5 or 10 seconds. Great, you can sit back down. In the chat, tell me how you felt during the time that you were standing in that first posture, slumped and frowning. What did that feel like? What were the emotions you picked up from that? Small, tired, sad, defeated, frustrated, doubt. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. All right. When you were standing, shoulders back, erect, head up, smiling, what did that feel like? Pop those words in the chat for me, please. Yeah, frustrated. Confident. Happy, confident, yes. Winner, good word. Yeah. Thanks. Yeah, I see the thrivers understand how their physiology can help them and how they can use it to help them. They start taking action without thinking too much about whether they're actually ready for it. Because once your body is in motion, your brain will follow. The other thing that does is action eliminates fear. So you don't get stuck in those cycles of, I'm not sure if I'm ready, and then all the doubt that comes along with that. You just move and let your brain catch up. The third thing that thrivers pay attention to in order to take inspired, consistent action is the people they surround themselves with. Maybe you've heard the quote, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. That's from, it's a Jim Rohn quote from, I think, the 70s, and there's some debate these days about whether that's scientifically accurate. But the point is, the people you spend the most time with shape who you are. They determine what conversations dominate your attention. They affect which attitudes and behaviors you're regularly exposed to. Eventually, you start to think like they think and behave like they behave. In other words, if you're surrounded by chickens, they will have you convinced that you are a chicken. Research has shown that the people you habitually associate with determine as much as 95% of your success or failure in life. If you live with someone, maybe a spouse or a child or a parent maybe, who's a negative influence on you, I am not suggesting that you remove them from your life. But we all know people who make us better. What I'm suggesting is you find a way to spend more of your time with those people. So take a moment right now and jot down some names. Who can you include in your life more, who will be supportive and positive? Who can you spend more time with, who is always willing to hold up a mirror to you with honest feedback when you need it? Who can you include more in your life who would be able to help you when you get stuck? And who do you know that you don't spend enough time with now, who always inspires you to be your best self? I hope you've all got some names by now. So step 3 to taking consistent action is paying attention to the people you surround yourself with. So here's the nutshell slide, right? These are all 3 of the strategies and the specific things that we talked about for each of them, how you can get better at knowing what you want, bouncing forward, and taking action. It's 2023. The future is here. Are you going to let it happen to you? or are you going to claim it? What ending will you choose for the story about the eagle and the chickens? Which of those two voices in your head are you going to listen to? Let me say again, I know without a doubt that each one of you is an eagle. My vision for you is that you will ignore the limitations of your chicken coop comfort zone and find your own way to soar. My vision for you is that you'll spend every day you work for the rest of your career on fire to use your best gifts, making a meaningful contribution to the world and getting paid what you're worth to do it. So before I wrap up here, I want you to write down for yourself one thing you're going to do in the next 24 hours. I know it's evening, so maybe it has to be when you get up tomorrow morning, right? What are you going to do to ensure that you live the eagle's life you were born to live? Want to see that last slide one more time? You bet. Once you've written down your action for the next 24 hours, type done in the chat so I'll know you're ready to move on. Ins and dones. All right. So the book I referred to at the name of the book I referred to at the start of the presentation. I am drawing a blank about the book I referred to. I mentioned I have an ebook about your superpowers. Was that it? Strengths Finders. Yes, I talked about that. Yeah, okay. So here you have my contact information. There's my email address, my LinkedIn profile. I send out a weekly career tip email. And there's where you can opt in. Although if you want to just shoot me an email and let me know there that you would, that you would like to get on that list. If you have any questions about anything I covered today, please, I would be so honored if you reached out to me to talk about that. I also offer complimentary consultations if there's anything that I talked about or otherwise that you're stuck with as you're looking at how you move forward. I would love to spend some time with you. And I love to network. So if there's any way that I or my network, other members of my network might be of assistance to you, please reach out for that. I also do virtual workshops or webinars from time to time like this. And I have a group coaching program that makes coaching services really accessible and affordable. It's aimed at seasoned professionals who are successful, but not fully satisfied with their careers. So if you sign up for my email distribution list, you'll be among the first to know when I schedule those events and when the next group program is coming up. The author I mentioned is Marcus Buckingham. He, again, was instrumental in Gallup's early work on Strengths Finders, and his two latest books are 9 Lies About Work. And in it, he talks about those red threads and that research at the Mayo Clinic. And then his book after that is Love and Work. And the entire book, he's really focused on how people can figure out what really makes them happy in the work world. So I highly recommend either of those books. Thank you again so much for spending this precious time with me this evening. I have enjoyed my time here with you very much, and I look forward to hearing from some of you.
Well, thank you, Lori. Sure do appreciate it. That was a wonderful presentation. Certainly learned a lot. Very inspired. So thank you. Appreciate your time tonight. Thank you all for joining us. At this point, what I will do is I'm going to put up the slides for the Crossroads what you can get out of Crossroads. If I could just find the share button here. Where is that? Uh-oh. We're having technical difficulty. Where is the... Did I lose, Harry, did I lose the connection? Ah, there it is. Sorry. My bad. Okay, here we go. Well, can we get this going? Stop sharing. It looks like it's sharing. Okay, so welcome to mmcrossroads.com. This is our website. And on our website, you will find many of things. It is a great resource. I highly recommend you go out and look at it. And from this point forward, you will hear me say I highly recommend a lot. But one of the recommendations is that you go out and visit some of the different categories, like the job boards and where our employers go to post those jobs. They're exclusive jobs, and they're not exclusive jobs, but they are. They come with someone to contact if you have questions, things of that nature. So go out and look at that. Our web seminar schedule is out there. If you're looking for other resources on Crossroads, it's a full service website and something you should check out. The Twin Cities Crossroads group that I referred to earlier when I did the introduction, the Woodbury one is which I work through when we're in the live world. Otherwise, there's the group in Eden Prairie, the original, that was through Grace Church, and our newest group, which is in Arden Hills. Now, we've been in the seminar mode for almost 3 years now, and hopefully soon we'll be looking to move to a seminar on-site environment, and we'll keep you apprised of that. And you can find that on our website when we do too. So please look for that in the near future or in the future. Weekly opportunities. Crossroads provide several things weekly, one of which is something I recommend, which is networking with Grace. For those of you who are starting out networking or seasoned networkers or any of the above, somewhere in between, Networking with Grace meets on a weekly basis, Thursdays. It's online. You can schedule or you can try to get an appointment in the group through the website. Look for Networking with Grace and join the Wesses, Wes Roper and Wes Tang, as they help you navigate in networking, and they are very good at it, and they will give you some tips and some other ways that you can be successful at networking. One-on-one coaching. Job transition is hard work, and coaching is necessary. As Laurie referred to, there are many forms of coaching, and we have coaching available for you through our website. So check it out. Let's say you're looking to do you maybe need help with interviewing, or you need help with your resume, or you need help with preparing for an interview. Any number of different things. All the things that you can think of about coaching are available. So sign up and someone will contact you and hopefully provide you with the skills that are necessary to help you be successful in your next opportunity. Like I referred to earlier, this job transition is difficult, and you can use all the help you can get, and sometimes a little prayer can be helpful. And we have a whole group of people whose focus and their great abilities in life is through prayer. They give through prayer, and so sign up, and you can get this prayer support that you need through our website, through our prayer transition group, our soul care group. Online classes. The bread and butter of Crossroads is the online class, and the small group classes are the 8-week courses that we talk about on a consistent basis. If you've ever heard us talk about one of the things that we are all passionate about at Crossroads. There's 8-week, hour-long classes. They're online right now. We had one start this week on Monday. There will be one in March. I believe it is a Tuesday opportunity, but you can look it up online on our website and sign up. There's the email of the person who's leading the group is there, and you can email them directly. I had someone contact me recently, and I hooked them up for this month's class, and they're all signed up and ready to go. So they're enjoying the opportunities that a small group class can provide. Some of the things that I really think that the small group class can really help you with is if you're wallowing, as Lori talked about it, from your transition and the effects of it. They can give you a whole new attitude about how to work on job transition. There are assessments that can help you with what do you need to work on during your job transition. There are other things that you can help, like how to do a resume, how to do networking, how to do interviewing. All these things are covered in the small group classes in the 8-week course. So I like that. One thing that I like about it too is that it helps you with accountability, and it helps you with having someone there to shoulder that transition with. In a lot of cases, you meet a lot of friends through it. So like I said, new classes beginning each month. So check it out on our website. I think you'll find that if you do sign up, it'll be the best thing that you like about Crossroads too. We do have a LinkedIn group on LinkedIn. So you just go to the search bar, typed in MN Crossroads Career Network, and up will come up our group. You can ask to join. Once you've joined, you will see that there's about anywhere from 2,300 to 2,500 members. And what those members all have in common is they generally have gone through transition and are willing to help. In addition, that you'll find information on there about different meetings, different opportunities, some posing questions, some question and answer. You'll find a lot of different things through this group. So it's one of those things that if you're into LinkedIn and you want to join a group that's focused on transition, this group will help you out. And then Crossroads Career Network YouTube channel. We have a YouTube channel where we post all the video or the seminars that are recorded on a weekly basis. Well, it's recorded every week. We have one, which is the first, second, and third week of every month. And you'll find Lori's out there probably very soon. If you wanted to rewatch it, or you forgot to write something down, now you want to go back and look at it, you can do that. And you'll find a lot of different webinars out there that are very useful for you. You just type in a few key search words and up will come one. So check us out on our YouTube channel. I think you'll find there'll be something you can use in through one of our videos that have already been there. So check that out. Oops, went the wrong direction. Additional resources. One of the big things that we can count on at Crossroads is the help of Th$RIVEnt. Th$RIVEnt has been there with us every step of the way, and they help us with a lot of key financial support when we need it. So they're our regular partner, and they also, they're a financial services company with steeped in tradition and a long history of providing some of the best services in the industry. Well, they also have 3 videos that are very useful that you can sign up for on a monthly basis. And you'll find them to be very helpful, especially if you're having trouble with finances during your transition. They can be very, very, very informative. So check those out. Crossroads can't operate without volunteers, and those volunteers are shown right in front of you here. There's a number of them. There's many more probably at this point, This is a cross section. I can see the two Wes's from here, and it is a very good list of volunteers, and thank them if you know any of them. Sometimes we're looking for a new church home, just like we're in transition for a new opportunity or a new job. We may be in transition for a new church home. Well, you can check out our church homes, Woodbury Lutheran, North Heights Church, or Grace Church. You can find their online addresses right here. Look them up, find out when they meet. You can either stream them or go in person and check it out. I can remember when I moved to Woodbury, just checking out the different churches in the area and going to several of them. And I found it to be the best way to learn more about a community. So again, if you're looking for a church home, here's 3 opportunities. That is the seminar and the slides on Crossroads. I lost my voice, excuse me. So that's just some of the opportunities that you can find through Crossroads. Just let me quickly wrap up. I want to thank our speaker tonight, Lori Anderson. She did a great job, and I think we all learned a lot. It was a very interesting testimonial from Scott Hamilton. I, again, was very moved by it, and I think he brought up some wonderful points that I think we can all use. Remember that you can sign up for one of our 8-week courses online. We have one starting in March. There's one that just begun or just has begun. So you'd be coming in late. I'm not sure that we often recommend that, but there is that possibility for February. And networking every Thursday morning with Networking with Grace is something that if you're new to networking, or if you just need a little help, this is the place to be. One-on-one help. If you're looking for coaching in any one of the different areas of interviewing or resumes, or you're stuck in some kind of mode, look to our coaches online, and they will provide the assistance that are necessary. Prayer support, we all can use it, so check that out. Our next webinar is next Thursday morning. It's at 7:30 to 9. You'll find who's scheduled and how to get signed up on the webinar on the website. So for the webinar, so check that out, and I think you'll find that to be very interesting and informative too. I hope it was all worthwhile tonight, and that you did learn a lot, and that you enjoyed our program. Best wishes to you and your church, and good evening.